People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, the beauty of football is that we've all got different opinions, and I don't like to bash people's opinions. And I hope you don't like to bash mine either. I know people are in football so quick to call people stupid and these things. And all of you lot that seem like me, I read a lot of the comments and I reply. I have a lot of interesting debates because we're seeing things differently. Like, just because you're you and I'm you doesn't mean I'm right or you're right or I'm wrong and you're wrong. We're seeing things differently, innit? And a lot of times I'm reading the comments and I'm getting different perspectives and things. The only thing I don't agree with is this I saw a comment yesterday saying that someone thinks I'm exaggerating and that this squad is good enough to get top 4. I humbly disagree. I think there's certain individuals that can be part of this thing. I think when you look at these players in isolation, they're not bad players, but collectively they're not good enough to get top 4. And I don't think ARTETA can move with this existing players purely because they're just too shit, for pardon my language. But one thing for me, yeah, defence is what, and I'm speaking for me anyways, defence clearly is a no-brainer. Like, come on, be serious, people. I'm sure most fans, don't even matter support Arsenal, you look at them defensive options, they're not good enough. They're not good. There's not one standout candidate. Like, for me, if I had to pick, I'm bringing in a centre-half or two, but let's just say a new centre-half and Saliba. I like Chambers, I like Holding, you know. I'd probably let one of Mustafi, Socrates or Luis stay because you probably got to keep one of them to run down their deals. But I wouldn't be begrudged if you feel, because there is logic to it, that they all should go, which is quite rightly so. Defence is one thing now, yeah? And obviously, it's all about, we defend from the front. I think our strikers have improved in that. I think the one thing that we're not lacking in is attacking options. Obviously, you can want improving and stuff. I think the attack is the only thing, not the problem. You've got Aubameyang scoring goals. Saka can do his thing when he's up there. Martinelli, when involved, can do his thing. Nelson's going to get an arm over him by Arteta, and he might improve with that because he seems he's Arteta's project. Pepe's not been that bad, been a bit underwhelming because, you know, it's not the superstar sort of thing, but I think there's more to come with him. And if I've missed any, Eddie showing his thing that he's got something to say. You know, we've got Tyrese and Balogun waiting in the wings, a couple other young players in and about. The attacking players is not something I'm concerned about. For me, it's the midfield. And it's not necessarily about this guy's rubbish and that guy's rubbish. I don't see what our midfield bring to the table, like. And that's no criticism. We all know Ozil is past it. We all know final ball, making space. A lot of these young players, and if I'm Joe, I'm partnering Joe and Ozil in training and saying, Joe, if you're going to be this 10, go and look at what Ozil does. I'm sure if we cut the bias, we know making space, all these things, Ozil's great at it, the 10 sort of stuff, yeah, he's great at it. He just, the application's not there, the match winning and match deciding isn't there. Ozil is past his best. His statistics show that I ain't got them to hand, but they're quite crap in it. You know, he's not creating to the standard where, you know, it's a Mazza, it's a Mazzoline. We're using him because we ain't got no other real options. It's a toss-up between him, the young and untested Joe Willett. Emil Smith-Rowe isn't here yet. Based on Joe getting roles, chances there. I don't think it's Maitland-Niles' his strongest sort of midfield role, but probably could throw him in there, could use Nelson in the 10. Clearly, Joe is doing something to get ahead of them. Like, with all due respect to Ozil, and I'm not bashing the players, you know, he's not creating to a great standard. Joe Willock is an 8 for me. He's not a 10, but I just on what he's offering as a 10, he's not bringing in goals. He's not bringing in assists. He works hard. He puts himself around. But to be cynical, as much as I love Joe, that's what you should be doing. And if I have to list that first and foremost, then it's a bit questionable. Obviously, I like Xhaka. I think Xhaka should be a squad player. I don't think he should be playing week in, week out. You know, you want to be a top 4 team. He's your main guy. I like his mentality. I like his attitude. Excluding what happened, I like him, innit? I think he's got some qualities, and I don't think it's a coincidence how you've previously had Wenger, Arteta, Lundberg, Emre. They've all used him. There's clearly something with him now when you put your bias aside. And I listen, when Xhaka's not there, I know man always say this when players are not there, but when Xhaka's not there, you kind of see what he brings to the table. It might not be everyone's cup of tea. Xhaka does have his shortcomings. I don't think Xhaka is of the standard to play. I think Torreira's the only one I really believe in out of the midfielders, if I'm honest with you, and even him's a bit shaky right now. I don't see what... Listen, Xhaka is not dictating the game to a greater standard. Xhaka's not a goal and assist man. So if you're not a goal and assist man, I've got to be fair. He's not someone that's going to get 10 goals, 10 assists. But what he's bringing to the table is not like... It's not a Mazzolini. It's not a mad thing. It's not mad like that. In the same way, Ozil, it's not mad. You know, he's not. We don't know what you're bringing. You know, we can do it. We've got players who can do a bit of both, and they're technically good, but when you look at Xhaka, you don't know specifically what he's bringing. We can bring all these stats and the passes and stuff, but we don't know what he's bringing to the table. Guendouzi, I like him. He's got he's good technically, he's got the energy and stuff. He's not bringing goals, assists, he's not dictating the tempo of a game to a certified standard. Torreira, you know, he can improve a bit going forward, but he's not a man for that. He's a man to put his foot in and stuff. He's chipped in with offensive stuff and he can improve in that, similar to what Conte did with Kante, but he's not with it in it. So I'm looking at our defence and I'm not really seeing men that are excellent or excel at the defensive side of the game, excel at the offensive side of the game. If it's not goals or assists, really dictating the tempo and controlling the game, I'm not seeing that. And I think our midfield puts a lot of pressure on our team. Our midfield puts a lot of pressure in the attacking sense, because don't get it twisted, some strikers can do the thing and decide the game themselves, but I don't see, you know, we're not spreading balls for it. Like you saw against City, everyone was scared to play it to Aubameyang. I'm not seeing man take the game and say, yo, balls over the top, I'm doing the certified passes, I'm going to cut open the opposition. We don't offer nothing really for our strikers, and the strikers have to work by themselves. That's why typically you saw against City, Eddie by himself having to hold it up, Aubameyang by himself either on the flanks or in the middle. Lacazette for his poor form, the same. The wide men as well, all the others, it's the same. We do struggle defensively. We're not of the standard to protect our defence really and truly. We're not following runners, we're not dynamic enough. I don't really see any goals, assists, dynamism or any real great consistency. So I'm really pleading, Raul Sanya, if you're looking at this team, please, you need a midfielder or two. You need to adjust this spine. The spine is not good enough. The spine is not even top 10 standard. Like the defence, listen, everyone can see you need a centre half or two, please, people. Well, that's my opinion. Midfield is another thing. Until you properly fix up this engine room, whether it's Partey or anyone we're linked with, and these defenders, whether it's anyone we're linked with, it can't improve, people. Because I saw a great tweet doing the rounds on Twitter, people, and I think it was tweeted by someone called Junior. I could be wrong. Apologies. Again, not all of these men are goals and assists, and they're not box-to-box Lampard sort of thing, so I'm discounting a bit. But the statistics, in 1,916 minutes, Xhaka has 0 goals, 1 assist in 23 games. That's not Xhaka's game to get goals and assists. It's the deep line playmaker and stuff. So of course I hear what I'm saying in it, but it paints the picture, not from Xhaka personally, but our options in midfield. We're not them. You look at all the other top 6 rivals, our midfield isn't dynamic enough, on top of not being great defensively or offensively. Torreira, again, it's not his game, but in 1,000 odd minutes, 1,370, 1 goal, 1 assist. Ceballos in 933 minutes, 15 games, sorry, 2 assists, no goals. Now I don't know if these are actually right, to be fair with you, but the Twitter account I follow that posted them is pretty creditable. So if it's not, we forget the stats. If it's not, forget the stats. You know, the point still remains. Guendouzi, still a lot that needs to be done in terms of refining him. 1,657 minutes, 23 games, 0 goals, 0 assists in 641 minutes, 20 games. The same goes for Joe Willock. Ozil in 1,449 minutes in 18 games, just 2 assists and 1 goal. Now again, you can, goals and assists for some of them doesn't do them justice. I think Ceballos has been playing well. Of course, I think Joe's done okay. I like Torreira. I like Guendouzi. I think Xhaka is misunderstood and is in a position of importance he should have been. But this paints the picture, and this paints the picture for recruitment, because all the fans can see it. But our Raul Sanya and them, man, they're sitting there and saying defence is one thing, but this midfield, I'm looking at City. We ain't got that. I'm not even talking about the golfing quality card. We can't cop them players for them price tags. But in terms of what they bring, we ain't got that. Even Wolves, we ain't got that. We ain't got that. Like, we ain't got that. Liverpool, we ain't got that. Liverpool actually think they need a creative man. But where they lack in creativity, Henderson, when Wijnaldum does his thing, both defensively and offensively, and Fernandinho, they make up with it with dynamism and you know, things like that. We ain't got that. We don't know what our midfield is. Our midfield ain't dynamic. It's not mad creative. It's not mad defensive. It's mix and match, couple man. Like you see, when you look at them in isolated incidences, Ceballos, you know, in an ideal world, you'd probably give him the deep line role or make him a deep line midfielder, but he has no role defensively, sort of thing. What is it? What is he bringing? Xhaka, you see it? Is he deep lying? Is he what is he? Do you get it? What's he bringing? Torreira, we know he's a ball winner / DM at times and can do things, but what's he bringing? We don't really know specifically what every man in this midfield is bringing, and this is the problem, people. I think strike is not our problem. Strike can quickly become our problem with Saka and Aubameyang's contract stuff or the attacking options, but that's the least of our priorities. That's one thing we've got in terms of our Arsenal back. We are top heavy. Like, we are, when you look beyond the names and look at them, and that's the mad thing as well, when you look at them isolated, none of these players are bad. There are a few, but when you look at it collectively, you can't. Like, Arteta can coach until he's blue in the face, and I said coaching is a big part of this role. Arteta is doing what Emre's failing to do. You've got a coach you can believe in and stuff, but it needs to be backed up. He needs to. None of this penny pinching with David Luiz and stuff, because again, I was praising David Luiz's form, but, and he's been doing his thing. But that time and time again, when the pressure is on, David Luiz, like against Liverpool, like with Mustafi against Chelsea, like last couple of days ago against City on Wednesday, them man, they are gonna let you down. And a year from now, we don't know if the form's gonna be good. Do you get it? Man are gonna let you down. And when you try and cost cut. Because we didn't go out, listen, this is what I mean, we didn't go out, obviously some man you become aware to because the market makes it. You don't like Ozil, we signed Ozil not because we planned to, the opportunity presented itself. But are we going out there and signing, man? Or are we going out there and relying on scraps? Did we genuinely seek David Luiz for his leadership qualities and being able to play out from the back and stuff? Or did we see someone that was told, Lampard, you get rid of him, someone that might be cheap, and that's there? Now, Luiz has had good moments, but you've paid 24 million for a single season from Luiz, and what have you got from it? And you even talks to renew his deal, which should not happen. You get it? Dennis Suarez was last season, so it's irrelevant, but we've put money on that. What happened? Pablo Mari, again, he's settling and he's injured and stuff, but, there's got to be a reason as much as I think he needed to settle and stuff, there's got to be a reason as to why Arteta has been a bit reluctant to throw him in the deep end and did against City. Is he going to be made permanent? And just based on the loans fee and stuff, have we got our thingy? Cedric Suarez signed, and he's had a torrid time with injuries. We signed him injured, and we might sign him permanently. But what was the point? We're meant to be having pennies, and we're not carefully looking after the pennies. And this is where I'm looking at Raul Sanllehi, Edu, because they both got good relationships with Kaya Jarupkin, and that's one thing I'll give Wenger. Obviously working with certain agents ultimately cost us, but to a degree we're not working with these agents properly. We're not working with these agents to really identify errors. It seems like we're doing favours and things like that. I think even Edu's a client of Kaya Jarupkin's. I could be wrong. We'll have to see, man. I've not got much hope in relation to addressing the areas we need, people. So we'll see what happens, man. But for what it is, Xhaka's obviously got an injury and he probably won't play against Brighton. Rob Holding's in contention. He hasn't played in a while. We've lost Pablo Mari for the rest of the season with ankle ligament / a tendon injury. In relation to David Luiz's future, apparently Arsenal are unwilling to meet the proposal by Kaya Jarupkin and Luiz. They're trying to get a 2-year contract outright. But I mean, that we can't justify giving him them wages when he's going to be 35, maybe even 36. It doesn't make sense, man. Move on. We've also been linked with renewal for Dani Ceballos' contract, but apparently he's got his heart set on returning to Spain, either at Real Madrid or going on loan. Apologies for the noise. According to Marcel, Valencia will look to hold discussions with Real Madrid. That's something we've heard before. Spurs have been linked with the right back, but we've also been linked with West Ham's right back Jeremy Ngata, who apparently has rejected a deal and rejected extending his deal to cover the rest of the season, people, and which was $5,000 a week. Now, again, from what I've seen, I ain't seen too much of the 19-year-old, but he looked fairly decent under David Moyes, and free transfer, English, 19. That's the sort of stuff I'm on. If we can get him a little shrewd addition, I'm on that. I'm not even against signing players like in theory. I'm not against signing someone like Thiago Silva, 30-odd. There's nothing wrong with that. I do think, same way, my bias would be to find these young, promising teenage to mid-20s sort of man, but you can do little sly things, little 30-odd-year-old man and things, provided there's a structure. It seems like we're freestyling. We're going for some players that, forgive me, but are past it. You're going with some players that are young. You're going with certain mix and matches. There's no clear philosophy, and that gives me anyways no confidence that we're going to address these areas. I hope to be wrong, because in the summer I was saying it was a decent window. I didn't agree with the sign of David Luiz, but he's a ball player, he's a winner with Chelsea and all that jazz. I was okay with Pepe, Ceballos alone. It's fair to say he hasn't hit the expectations many of us thought, but he's shown he's a decent baller. But we'll have to see, people. We will have to see. Finally, as well, it's not really of any relevance, but I'm not sure you've all seen we've been linked with Papa Gueye, who is allegedly going to Watford. It's now come out that he's not. Apparently, he's got his heart set on Marseille. He wants to stay in France for a couple of years. Going and playing on the AVB, considering how they've been this season, is very decent, and they're actually playing young players as well. Apparently his agent said Marseille is one of the clubs that is most interesting in Papa. That's clear. There's also Metz, Salzburg, Angers, Nantes, German, Portuguese and Spanish clubs. Arsenal also contacted us with a salary 3 times better, but Papa wants to play in Ligue 1 for 2 or 3 years before going on abroad, and Marseille is clearly on his shortlist. They would be a superb club for him. So a bit of that is obviously agent talk, engineering that saying all the contract, and obviously saying Arsenal are interested, and also that we put significant sort of terms in your contract. He's 21 and it'll be decent. But I've got nothing more to speak about, so I'm going to get out of here, man. It's always a pleasure. People, DG, I'm out.